Greetings and welcome back to Room 303 in our Chats with Emily, as we are calling our readings through the poetry of Emily Dickinson. In the Johnson edition, we turned now to poem 336, The Face I Carry With Me Last, and the last, of course, is at death. This is another death poem. We are, in many ways, back to Emily's dancing with Dante. And we've said this in so many previous lectures that so much, I think, of Dante's and the Divine Comedy is standing behind the way Emily thinks about the journey and the way she thinks about the potential afterlife of that journey. Now, in many ways, we are also back to poem 325 and the tribulation that we spoke of there. Our assumption is that you've been following our stuff at LearnStrong.net, down that left-hand side, Chats with Emily, our playlist. I'm hopeful that you've already worked through our preceding 335 poems along with that set of introductory comments that we made. We just finished with another death poem, 335, "'Tis Not That Dying Hurts Us." And I want you to pay attention to the tone of this poem as Emily plays games maybe with her tone of voice. Now, here a referencing from Master will be provided again, and we're back to poem 96 and poem 151. Who is this Master? Scholars have spent a lot of ink trying to figure it out. Many believe that the one she's referencing here is Sam Boyles, although some have said, no, she's being religious here, and it's the face of the suffering Christ that she's referencing. I'll let you decide, right? We just enjoy these conversations, which is why we call this series Chats with Emily. The face I carry with me last when I go out of time to take my rank by in the West, that face will just be thine. I'll hand it to the angel. That, sir, was my degree. In kingdoms you have heard the raised referred to, possibly. He'll take it, scan it, step aside, return with such a crown as Gabriel never capered at, and beg me put it on. And then he'll turn me round and round to an admiring sky as one that bore her master's name. Sufficient royalty. Now, some have seen this as a tribute to Sam Boyles, and it can be read, I think, as a tribute poem. Some have seen this as her I will die with the face of the sorrowful or suffering Christ. I will face death appropriately. And obviously this is what stands behind this poem. I'm amazed at the tone. There seems to be almost like a jesting or ironical tone that's quite remarkable. Let's enjoy it as we study it. Of course, the face is the key. Who are we talking about? Sam Boyles. We're talking about suffering Christ. I carry with me last when I go, notice what she calls death, out of time, to take my rank. Now we're to notice how Dante, he ranks everyone, right? The circles of Inferno, for example. We've given full lectures on the Divine Comedy at LearnStrong.net for those of you that want to run that to ground. She says to take my rank by in the West, again, the directionality of death. That face will just be thine. And again, it's not clear who the thine is here, right? If it's a tribute poem to Sam Boyles, it makes some sense. Again, this face, I'll hand it to the devil. That, sir, was my dear. This is how to the angel. I said devil, I apologize. I was thinking of my Dante. I'll hand it to the angel. That, sir, was my degree. Notice she calls the angel. So notice how she's speaking to this angel. Gabriel is going to be mentioned here a few seconds later. In kingdoms you have heard the raised. Now we're talking, of course, about Christ and the resurrection. Refer to possibly. I love that she uses the word possibly. We commented on her 696 line, acres of perhaps. It's the same thing. In other words, she'll say, you've probably heard about this Jesus Christ who raised from the dead, as she's speaking to the archangel. And then she'll say about this angel, possibly Gabriel, he'll take it, scan it, step aside. I love all this informal. This is why we called our series Chats with Emily, because there's a certain kind of game playing, I think, that's going on here. Step aside, return with such a crown. And of course, this is the revelation, be thou faithful unto death, and you'll receive your crown of life passage, as Gabriel never capered at. In other words, I'm gonna get one of the most amazing crowns because of the way I die. Gabriel takes us back to poem 195. Actually, it ends up in six full poems. As Gabriel never capered at, and the angel is going to beg me put it on, right? So, I mean, the tone here is, I think, whimsical. It's ironic at best, right? And then, the angel, he'll turn me round and round to an admiring sky. You'll remember this line from 288. As one that bore her master's name. Sufficient royalty, exclamation point, by the way. Now, master is, as we said already, we've seen this in 96, 151. We'll see it again in 415, in 462, and finally in 754. Now, what are we gonna say? What is the message of a poem like this? I think our argument is that, and she learned this, of course, from her study of Socrates, especially Plato's Phaedo, the question isn't, are you going to die? The question is, how will you die? And as we've said a number of times in different lectures, for example, our lectures on the Phaedo, you'll remember that we said, everyone says the same words at death. The words are, oh my God. The only question is the inflection in the voice. For many, many people, the massive life, men lead lives of quiet desperation. You'll remember Thoreau says in Walden, it is the, oh my God, what have I done with my life? Emily says, that will not be the face that I will carry. Rather, when she says, oh my God, that language, that intonation, that inflection in the voice will be one of confidence. This is her point, right? At 2b, well, obviously, who is it? Who is the vine? Who is the master of this poem, right? Is it Sam Boyles? Is it Christ? Is it somebody else? At 3a, we mentioned the master poems, and you can obviously continue your study with us to find more of these poems. Finally, at 3b, it's a fair question to ask. What is the face that you hope that you have at the moment of your passing out of time? Maybe Emily will give you a challenge here. Thank you.